And this is Anna.
And you're listening to
Now Showing.
On Halloween night, Will saw a sort of shadow. Maybe all of this is happening for a reason.
These are not nightmares. It's happening. And it all leads back to here.
I don't understand. 11 what? She always did.
Today we're going to talk about Stranger Things, finally. It's here.
Season 2. This episode will only be about Stranger Things Season 2 because
That's all I care about.
that's all that matters.
That's all that matters in my life right now. So that's what we're talking about. So as you know, last season, Will Byers disappeared. And that's what held the whole thing together, is this disappearance of Will Byers and his friends and his family and Chief and whatever, all trying to find him. And he was in the Upside Down, where only 11 could really find him. Except for that one time Nancy went in there. She made the wrong decision.
I was like, I can't get behind this.
Oh, as always, this is going to be absolutely filled with spoilers, so if you haven't watched it, go watch it. If you haven't finished, what are you doing? I've seen it 3 times already. Finish the show. Wow.
Not to mention the Netflix special look behind the scenes.
Beyond Stranger Things, which is also wonderful.
Not to mention they've been on like every single
talk show. They were in a Motown group on James Corden. The boys were.
Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown.
She rapped on Jimmy Fallon.
In case you didn't know, Stranger Things was created by the Duffer Brothers, Matt and Ross Duffer.
My homies.
They are fantastic. They were actually looking at redoing it before they chose Andy Muschietti. I'm pretty sure something happened where they were like, no, you can't have this. And so the Duffer Brothers were like, all right, I guess we'll go do something else. And then they created this.
And then Finn Wolfhard got to be in both of them because he's the GOAT.
I found that people are trying to tie together it and Stranger Things.
Yeah, Bob is supposed to be, because he says he's from Maine.
Yep.
And that a clown used to terrorize him as a kid. But, you know, we're not going to learn very much more about that one. Bob's gone. R.I.P. Bob.
So, Bob. Let's start with Bob because he's amazing and he dies too soon.
Yeah.
And Winona is left, again, by herself. Single mom of 2 boys.
Well, he was supposed to die even sooner, so we can just thank the Duffer Brothers for giving us a little bit more wiggle room with Bob.
That's true.
Because I don't think Will would have been able to come back from. Originally, in the original script, Will is supposed to kill Bob in the car when he's telling him a story. And I just don't think that anyone would be able to return from that once Will killed a person.
No, there would be no. But Sean Astin, many may know him from The Goonies or Lord of the Rings. He is the adopted son of John Astin, who plays Gomez in the Addams Family.
Oh, that's cool.
The original Addams Family. Oh, okay. So Sean Astin...
We just have a lot of Sean Astin facts. We're a Sean Astin fan podcast now.
He actually sent in a video auditioning for Stranger Things. He just wanted, like, any role that he could possibly get. They didn't go to seek him or anything, and the Duffer Brothers were kind of wary about bringing him onto the show because they didn't want his fame to kind of shadow the kids.
Yeah.
Which really didn't.
All the 80s references, he's in, like, half of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he was one of the it kids in the 80s. So I don't know, it would just... I understand where they were coming from, thinking it might be kind of weird to put him in there when he's, like, in the Goonies.
This is basically a salute. Well, it's a salute to many things, but the Goonies being one of that. his death, gruesome death,
It was disgusting.
is inspired by the movie Jaws,
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I did know that.
which is pretty cool.
That's pretty neat. I have two very specific favorite scenes. One because it's cinematically just unbelievable, and I stopped and replayed it 4 times first time I watched it. And then the second one has just made me cry a lot. So, like, every time I see it, I cry. The first scene is in, I think it's the very first or very second episode, when Will kind of hears something in his house, and he goes to the front door, and it's wide open, and it's like the Upside Down and that shadow guy, or what do they call it? The Mind Flyer is outside, and the camera is close up on his neck, and oh, it's so good. It's so good. You just see the goosebumps grow on his whole neck. I was floored. I stopped it. I replayed it. I stopped it. And I replayed it. And I stopped it. And I replayed it. Because it's so cinematically insane to just, like, watch that happen.
This whole season, I mean, the first season was great, and it was very pleasing to the eyes, but this season totally takes you on a different path. Just the colors are darker, and there's so many reds and blues and purples.
It's very much the loss of innocence.
Yeah.
That first season, because I went and I've rewatched the whole series again, that first season kind of has that dull but still lighter coloring to it, where you can tell, and they just look so much smaller. Like, you can tell that they're just kids, and they don't really know what's going on, and they hadn't really fought anything yet, but now they're, up against this huge force.
They're keeping this, to start off with, they're keeping this huge secret. I mean, they've all been sworn to secrecy. If you tell anybody, we will find you and we will kill you. And so they're keeping this between them, for one, and then they're all suffering this great loss because things just aren't the same anymore. And then you go to Finn Wolfhard is this empty shell because he's desperately trying to find 11. He's the only one who's, like, still trying to find 11.
He's, they were referring to him all season as Emo Mike behind the scenes, they said on Beyond Stranger Things, because he's just this little emo kid. Oh my gosh, he's so temperamental. And they're just like, can you not be such a crab? But he's so crabby all the time about everything. It's kind of funny. He's just like this sassy, crabby kid, and he's like, gosh, I just want 11 to come back. And he's still calling 11 every night. I don't want to talk about it too much or I'll cry. But that leads me to my second favorite scene. Well, this one is my, number one favorite scene because it's so cute. It's so cute. So when the door starts to open in that the last 2 episodes are 2 of the best hours of television I've ever seen, and the last minute of the 8th episode and the first minute of the 9th episode are basically one scene. Made me really emo. My goodness. So the door starts to open, the chain unlocks, and then it just flings open. And I don't know why. To me, my first thought was, well, it's obviously going to be 11. Why are they pointing a bunch of guns at the door? How many other people do they know that can do that? None. So then 11 walks in. Oh! And it just 11, and then Mike's face, and then 11, and then Mike's face. And I didn't think a 14-year-old boy was that capable of producing that many emotions at once. Every single emotion you could possibly have went through his face in one little swoop.
I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that kid actors are so
They're
amazing.
So talented. This group especially is so unbelievably talented. I can't even do anything at all.
No.
I burn toast on a daily basis.
We're watching them
are
while our life is failing, and we're using them as an escape.
They're gonna win awards.
Yeah.
They're all gonna have Oscars someday. And I burn my toast, and I'll be 40 by then, and I'll still be burning my toast. I'll be like, wow, they're more successful than I'll ever be. Ugh. And then when 11, oh gosh, I'm just so emo about it. When Mike was like, I called you every night, and 11 knew exactly how many days because she was listening the whole time. Oh my goodness.
And then she tells him the days.
And then,
Everybody cries a bit.
the emotion he has when he's punching Hopper. Oh, my goodness. I can't.
Hopper is so amazing in this episode. He takes such a journey.
In the whole thing. From
Yeah.
just being this kind of dorky police chief who's just kind of an idiot.
He's trying to be a father to a teenage girl. Obviously,
Trying to
he has
be-
no experience with that, considering his daughter died. He brings her to this house, and he's trying to teach her how to communicate and how to be a kid.
Yeah, because she obviously has no idea.
And he has these rules set in place for her. Of course, he's trying to be a sheriff who's investigating all these weird things, like pumpkins rotting and what the heck is going on with the Upside Down. He ends up coming home late for dinner, which makes 11 upset, but...
Oh, that scene's a lot. It's a lot of angry telekinesis at that point.
There's a lot of shattering glass in this episode.
There is a lot of shattering glass in that episode.
All right, so the first episode of the new season averaged 15.8 million viewers within the first 3 days. That's not even as amazing as 361,000 people watched all 9 episodes of the first season, I bet this is Cassie included, within the first 24 hours of its release.
Yeah, that's me. I did that.
One of my friends was planning for like weeks that she was going to skip her Friday class so that she could just binge watch it all that morning. Her teacher emailed them 3 days before the 27th and was like, I'm not coming into class because I'm binge watching Stranger Things. You all get 20 points. You don't have to show up today because I'm going to be binge watching TV. You should be binge watching TV.
That's me as a teacher.
Otherwise, enjoy your Friday. That's incredible.
That's me as a teacher.
Who would do that for a TV show? Who's that cool?
I'm
Cassie.
glad someone is. That someone's giving them the respect they deserve.
Yeah.
Because people lately have been so disrespectful to those children.
Yeah.
It drives me insane. I tweet about it a lot. It makes me really angry. They're what? I think at this point, Noah Schnapp is 12. Finn Wolfhard is 14. And the oldest one, Caleb McLaughlin, who plays Lucas, is 15. They're so young, and people are so mean to them and so disrespectful.
They forget that they're kids. That's maybe one of the downsides of them being such amazing actors is
They
that
forget
people
that
forget.
they're children.
Yeah, people are showing up outside Finn Wolfhard's
Adults,
hotel.
grown adult women. Grown adult men. If you were just like an average 14-year-old, if you're a parent of just a 14-year-old kid who just happens to be an actor, if you walk downstairs and there's a bunch of grown adults trying to take pictures with your kid, that's disturbing.
Yeah.
That's weird. It would make anyone uncomfortable.
And it's okay to say, no, you guys need to leave.
Yeah.
Because, they're coming to their homes. Actors see this all the time, obviously. But
Yeah.
there has to be a line, especially when it comes to children
14-year-old
actors.
Kid. Well, and the 27-year-old model posted on her Instagram story, Finn Wolfhard hit me up in 4 years. That's disgusting. Can you
Yeah.
imagine being 14? You'd be so uncomfortable with that. You don't do that to kids. Just because they're actors and
Yeah.
they're good at what they do, let them be kids still. Like, it's kind of disturbing. If it's like a Comic-Con, go for it. That's what they're there for.
Yeah, they're expecting that when they show up, but they're not expecting to wake
They're
up in the morning.
on vacation with their parents.
Yeah.
They don't want you to come take pictures with them.
They want to eat their cereal, play video games without
They just want to
fans
go to like a water
bombarding
park.
them.
Let them be kids.
Yeah, let them go out to Walmart with their parents and get groceries.
That's
What is this?
just the number one rule here should just be let them be kids. They're
be respectful.
cute, they're great, they're wonderful actors, they're adorable kids, but they're kids. They're
Yeah.
not your husbands and boyfriends, and they're not 30 years old. Like, pick a different actor to go wait outside his hotel room. If you're an adult person, make sure they're over the age of 18, you weirdo. Let's talk about Steve.
Steve is a babe. He is the true hero of season 2. I believe it.
The love of my life. I love Steve so much.
Steve was done so wrong.
Steve, first season, here's the thing. I love Steve first season just because he was cute. I
Yeah.
didn't really care that he was a real terrible guy.
Yeah.
It's like,
At
'cause
first I was like,
he
great,
fights
it's
the
Steve.
Demodog in the end,
Yeah.
or the Demogorgon, it's not a dog then. The Demogorgon in the end with the baseball bat, that's like his redemption, like, arc starting.
Yeah.
And you could tell he was going to get better and better.
Yeah,
and better.
it's because he goes from stupid teen jock who's got this girlfriend, he just wants to make out and get some action, to holy crap, there's this whole other world, not to mention the world that I can barely face on my own because he's just about to graduate high school. And now he has not only the real world to deal with, but the upside down world to deal with.
And he has, 6 kids now?
Yeah.
He's basically adopted all of the children.
He watches out for them, for
Make
Nancy.
sure they don't do dumb stuff.
Yeah. Can we talk about, just as a side note, besides Winona Ryder and Jim Hopper, where the heck are all the parents? Like, Nancy and...
Okay. Nancy and Mike's parents are a real piece of work. I don't even remember the dad's name.
Oh my god.
But Karen, is that her name?
The mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, the scene where
Karen is a piece of work.
Man.
She is an unhappy woman.
Billy is a piece of something.
Billy is the worst person probably ever. He's definitely a racist. He also just, beats everyone up.
Yeah.
He hurts my poor Steve's face. That was not cool. But he's so hot.
Everyone is shipping Steve and Billy. They're like, why didn't they get together?
If he's a better person, I don't care. I love a good gay couple. Especially one you didn't think was going to be gay. They can open up a nice bed and breakfast called the Upside Down or something. I'm here for it.
I was reading one of those fact things, and it was saying how they originally wanted to call the Upside Down the Nether, but people were making fun of it so much that they decided to change it to the Upside Down. But now every time somebody says the Upside Down, I just want to be like, oh, you mean the Nether?
And like,
Like, why?
You're wrong. In the script, it's Nether.
Creepy side note, Karen is... wooed by Billy in a scene.
I'm waiting for it. Next season, they're going to have an affair, and Mike's parents are going to get divorced.
We don't even care about Mike's parents at this point because
I don't even think Mike cares about his parents.
No, they're the worst. And then they have a sibling.
Yeah.
Mike and Nancy have a sibling, but
Where's Holly?
Yeah.
I was thinking about that because she's in the scene with the lights. With the Christmas lights in the first season, and I had to stop and be like, where in the world is their little sister? She was a full baby. Like, what? Where is Holly?
And while Mr. Wheeler is sitting on the couch reading the paper, and Mrs. Wheeler is taking a nice bubble bath and then being wooed by Billy, where the heck is Holly? They're terrible parents.
Confused as to where Holly went. That's why Steve is Mike's dad now. Steve is Mike's dad, and Joyce is high-key his real mother at this point.
Yeah, I think Joyce is everybody's mom.
Yeah.
Thank you, Winona Ryder.
Thank God someone gave Winona Ryder a second chance. This poor woman... My goodness, people have done much worse things than Winona Ryder has done, and she didn't get casted in anything for forever. And finally, shout out to the Duffer Brothers, someone gave her a shot back into Hollywood, and she's killing the game.
Yeah, I can't imagine anyone else being in her role because she tramples everything.
Yeah, she does. Joyce is a bad bitch. Sorry.
Yeah, she is. Hopefully she'll get with Hopper next season because
I'm waiting
that
for
has
it.
been, here, let's just nudge to this relationship that, you know, they were high school sweethearts. Now they're not together.
When she started dating Bob, I was like, what? Okay, but where's
Hopper? Yeah. And then they even kind of nudged to it again this season. And it's okay, the moment Bob died, I was like, okay, now it makes sense because how would Hopper get together with Joyce if Bob was still alive?
Yeah. Well,
Bob's too nice of a guy for them to cheat on.
Yeah. David Harbour has talked about this multiple times. He wants them together so bad.
I certainly know for myself, my performance doesn't work without her performance and the way her performance is. My performance doesn't make sense if that was another actress. And so I'm so grateful for what she brings, all the heart and passion that she brings to her work.
He really wants Joyce and Hopper.
I want to be with Winona Ryder. Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah. I don't want to be with either of them. Who cares? Everyone on this show, except for the children, because that's inappropriate, is worthy of my love. God.
Speaking of children and making them feel awkward,
They had to have first kisses this season.
Yes, there are 2 huge. Okay, I guess 3. If we're gonna count Nancy and Jonathan,
Yeah,
there
but
are
like
3 big
ew.
get-together scenes. Nancy and Jonathan is gross. They may be together. They may not.
The circumstances surrounding it are weird. You just have to watch it. It's gross.
Yeah, super awkward. But when you fast forward through that and get to the good stuff, the very last episode,
The snowball.
we
Beautiful
see
stuff.
Mike and Eleven have their first kiss on the show. Apparently it was very awkward because the crew kept clapping every time they kissed. And so
It's like 12 scenes.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
All right, and then Max and Lucas, they have a kiss at the very end, which we saw coming. They hold hands, their relationship starts forming. You see Billy's inner racist come out as they get closer.
Super uncomfortable for everybody involved.
Yes, but for, all right, Caleb McLaughlin and
Sadie Sink.
Sadie Sink, which is an incredible name.
Yeah, it is.
It was their actual first kiss, which they recorded.
So cute.
Super cute, probably super awkward, but at least it'll be recorded for them forever.
Yeah, and they said on Beyond Stranger Things that it took a lot of takes because the circle camera guy kept missing Lucas's reaction. So they had to keep circling around and trying to get at different angles. Oh, that sounds so horrible.
That would be
Especially
so
when you're
awkward.
15.
You're like, okay, I'm gonna awkwardly come in for this kiss again.
Well, Finn Wolfhard and Millie Bobby Brown's kiss. Finn said that before he went in for the kiss, he whispered, "Okay, I'm coming in." And if you look really, really closely, you can see his lips kind of move at the end before he does it. And I was like, oh my goodness. These kids they're so they've got it down now.
Okay, this is my favorite part because this is amazing. So, we all know how people get about their TV shows. Each episode of season 2 of Stranger Things had an $8 million budget.
Oh my goodness.
That is per episode. You heard me right. Not for the entire season. That is per episode, which is only $2 million more than every episode from the first season. And is $2 million less an episode than the budget is for one episode of Game of Thrones.
I hate to be that person, but if we didn't spend so much money on Game of Thrones, we could probably pay off our debt to China.
Yeah.
That's a
there'd
lot.
Be a good chance.
That is so much money.
Which
oh my goodness.
Totally explains, besides all
how
the other...
it's so good, yeah.
Yeah, and how... we're all complaining about Netflix prices going up.
I need them to go up to pay for their show.
But when you look at it, you're getting shows like Stranger Things, other Netflix original series that are incredible, and you really don't think about it because Netflix, they've got money behind them, but they're not a well-known studio. They're not MGM. They're not Walt Disney. They're just like Amazon, who's now producing movies. You can almost look at them as indie production companies because whereas they used to just stream stuff for you that was created from other places, now you're getting original stuff from them. They're pulling in so much more with them now, which is just creating a whole other industry on its own.
I'll pay them as much money as they want me to if I keep getting Stranger Things.
Only for 2 more seasons.
Isn't it 2 to 3?
No. I saw somewhere that the Duffer Brothers, or
They
it was
said-
an interview, they want to wrap it up within season 4. Because they don't want this to be something that just gets drug out. And...
Yeah, when they talked about it on Beyond Stranger Things, it was more of it needs to be an organic stop. If it lends itself to go to season 5, it'll go to season 5, but they'd prefer to keep it at 4. But I'd bank on they're going to be so old by then, though. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
the kids are going to be wanting to get on to new things by then.
When they come out with season 3, they're going to be 17. They're going to be so old. And Finn Wolfhard, puberty hit that boy like a truck in the last year. He has grown, I think, getting up to close to a foot. He's 5'7".
Unless they're somehow within season 3 is a fast forward to...
They did talk about making it a fast forward, but I don't know if the story...
If it would be 20 years later.
I don't know if it lends itself to fast forwarding that far.
Maybe not in season 3. Maybe season 4 they could afford that.
Yeah, maybe maybe they'll be sophomores in high school when they with the time span doesn't make sense.
And you
now,
need to know what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, like, all this stuff just ended. Like, they just finally defeated this.
Well, and then when it flips over to the Upside Down in the very, very last scene, and the Mind Flyer is just
standing there, yeah.
Well, I feel like that lurking concept doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room.
No,
time-wise.
Unless for some reason they fast forward a couple years and they're like, in the Upside Down, all this stuff has been happening. Like, there's a crack in the wall again. But we need to know what happens to 11. Like, what happens with her now? Because now Hopper has a birth certificate for her. But where does her life pick up now? What happens to her?
Well, yeah, because she's learned more about herself through meeting her quote-unquote sister.
Yeah, and that almost left room for them to bring in the other kids, but they never did, so that could be another thing that they...
Okay, and if she's 11, there's obviously 10 in front of her.
Yeah.
I don't know, because they can't just make it 11-centric.
Yeah.
Because...
especially after bringing in 8.
I need to know what happens to the boys. I need to know what happens to Steve and Nancy and Jonathan. Like, I have to know what happens to Joyce and Hopper. You can't take a show that's based so much on character growth and the 13 or however many main characters there are and narrow it down to being one person all of a sudden.
Exactly. It
just because, like, if they were to bring in all the other kids, like all the 10 other...
oh my gosh. Yeah, that'd be that's
projects,
other show,
I
which
guess.
they could.
Yeah, and like it might make sense organically towards the end of next season if like they have something even bigger than the Mind Flyer shows up, and then to defeat it they need all of them, but they'd have to work them in individually, and that adds 10 more main characters to a show that already has 13 major characters in it. And I feel like making it take place in the Upside Down would take away all of the like human aspect of the show.
Yeah.
That makes so relatable. Because they're just kids in high school, like going to be in high school and kind of being awkward and in their weird years, to like go directly to the Upside Down where they'd have to be like tough, kind of almost macho like people.
They should be way more mature than they would in their normal life.
Like it wouldn't, to me that wouldn't make sense. I would be disappointed if that's kind of where it went, because I like that like more innocent, naive aspect to it without them still like having as much innocence as they did. They're just innocent and oblivious to what's looming. They think it's over, but it's not really over, if that made sense. Should have made sense. So in that scene where they're at the end of the snowball, which to me, I get why they picked that song, but you know, this would have been another really great opportunity to throw in Africa by Toto. Sprinkle it on there a little bit, which they already have used that in season 1 with Steve and Nancy when they're studying in her room. They're making out on her bed. They're playing Africa then, but as a fan of Africa, I would have thrown it in there too. But I do like this song, and it, for all intensive purposes, it does add a more like
that looming
aspect to it. So in the scene at the snowball, they play the Police's Every Breath You Take, which has this kind of sort of romantic
slow dance opportunity. I mean, you probably heard it at every middle school and high school dance you went to. If you listen to the lyrics, the song is actually about stalking.
Yeah, it's literally a song about stalking. And so in the end of the snowball scene, they're all dancing in the gym, and then it pulls out to being, you know, the big picture of the high school, and then it starts to fade and the camera flips to the Upside Down, and the Mind Flyer is standing over them, watching over them, and so it gives you that foreshadowing, something's gonna happen aspect to
something's
things.
waiting for them in season 3. We're waiting for season 3.
That's me. I'm gonna sit in my bed until it comes out 2019.
Rewatching season 1 and 2.
Yep, not
listening to Spotify's 11's Breakfast Jams and Nancy's Sleigh List.
The Spotify playlists, like the Spotify curated playlists for this show, is one of the most genius things I've ever seen in my entire life. The fact that each individual character, including the Demogorgon, gets its own playlist.
Does he really?
Yes, the
I have
Demogorgon
not
has
seen
a
that.
playlist. Yes, and like Steve gets his morning hair jams, and Mike's is like a
Steve.
5-hour D&D playlist,
Oh my
and then Nancy's Slay list. Like, they're all just so incredibly crafted and very much to the character.
Good job,
And
Spotify.
it's not just like 80s music. It's music of like from 80s till today. It's so good. Oh, I could listen to them forever.
I'm gonna have to check out the Demogorgon.
Yes, it was. I laughed so hard when I saw it. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
All right, so one of the most important things, well, basically, one of the most important relationships in season 2 is Jim Hopper and Eleven, who, and we didn't even say this is a huge spoiler alert. Eleven found out her real name is Jane.
We're probably still gonna call her 11.
Yep, that's
But
never
her
gonna
name
die.
is Jane.
If you rewind to season 1, you see Hopper with his daughter Sarah, and Sarah's got these cute little blonde ponytails. Well, eventually Sarah is diagnosed with cancer, and she loses her hair, so you see her in the hospital bed with Hopper, and Hopper's wearing her ponytail on his wrist. Flash forward to season 2, you don't really notice it at first, but Eleven is wearing the ponytail on her wrist, and you really don't notice it until the very end when you're watching the snowball scene, because she's wearing it on her wrist. And when she's got her arms around Mike, you see it, and you're like, holy crap, this takes their relationship to this whole other level. Hopper's not just trying to be a dad, he really is taking Eleven under his wing and making her his daughter, caring for her because there's nobody else to care for her anymore, which is incredible. And like Cassie said, brings tears to like everybody's eyes. Everybody's freaking out on social media about it right now.
Well, and I saw in another like post that he in the hospital bed he's reading Anne of Green Gables to her, and he's reading Anne of Green Gables to 11 in the scene where he's reading to her, and I was like, well, great, I'm gonna go cry now. Thanks. Exactly what I needed today. Thank you.
Can we just give Hopper a win here? Like a really big win, and let's just get him together with Winona Ryder already.
That's all I need.
That'd be great.
And then Will and 11 can be brother and sister. It'll just be so great. And I'll just cry a lot. It's fine. We never talked about Steve and Dustin.
We need to talk about Steve and Dustin.
Yeah.
Steve is a babe.
And he forms an unlikely friendship with our dear friend Dustin.
Who is, I mean, they're both pretty much outsiders in this season once Nancy ditches Steve. And Lucas hooks up with Max pretty much. And then you've got Dustin and Steve both on their own ways.
Dustin is trying to fight these quote-unquote demodogs that he coins that term himself eventually because they're smaller demogorgons. And
Which he basically raises one that he finds in his trash can. You see this weird
It's
connection
really
he has with this thing.
does end up saving their life in the end, but
True. So we'll give him that. But he kind of throws his friends under the bus there for a moment.
well, and he's busy dealing with this whole thing and trying to figure that out, and everyone else is off, Mike's with Will, and Eleven's still not around, and Lucas is with Max, and so the only person he can find is Steve, so he just takes Steve and they go off into the woods looking for this demodog.
Tells Steve to get his bat. Basically, like, get your bat, get your car, we're going to go on an adventure.
It's just, it's hilarious because they start talking about hair on the train tracks while they're looking for this thing. And then all of a sudden it gets to the snowball scene, and Steve's the one who's dropping him off at the snowball and telling him that he looks like a champ and how to go about getting girls to dance with him.
Super cute.
Just being
Daddy
an
Steve.
all-around dad. An amazing human being, and you see Dustin trying to be this mini Steve lady killer. Very soon he realizes that he is not Steve because, he'll walk up to a girl and she'll kind of scoff at him and walk away, which is depressing. But in the end, Nancy does one nice thing in this whole season.
Yeah, if
and
Nance
dances with Dustin, which was cute.
And she gives him some advice, letting him know that girls are stupid at their age, which she is.
So, she
Not
knows
to
from
call out Nancy,
she knows from
but-
experience that girls are stupid because she's still stupid. Nancy.
But you kind of see one of the girls that Dustin has a crush on get a little jealous that he's dancing with Nancy. And then you see the gang. They're all dancing and having fun.
So hopefully next season, Steve gives our friend Dustin some more advice. Because Dustin doesn't have a dad, does he?
No, just his mom who loves her cats.
So he'll finally have a kind of male influence in his life who's finally a good person, not a jackwad that Steve was.
Can we give a moment of silence for Dustin's mom's cat?
Oh, poor Muse.
Muse takes one for the team. Team Dustin.
Gets eaten by that stupid demodog because Dustin just had to bring it into his house. R.I.P. Muse. To sum up today, watch Stranger Things if you haven't already. You're behind. Watch Beyond Stranger Things if you haven't already. It's cute.
If you want to know or anything that you could ever want or think of, watch the interviews, look up the facts online. Don't go to their houses.
Don't show up at their houses. That's weird. They're 14. Watch their appearance on James Corden because it's adorable. And Gaten Mazzarato, who plays Dustin, is a really good singer, so it's fun to watch. And Justice for Bob. So, that'll wrap up today. I am Cassie.
And I'm Anna.
And that was Now Showing.
When I had you to myself, I didn't want you around. Those pretty faces always made you stand out in a crowd. Then someone picked you from the bunch when the length was all it took. Now it's much too late for me to take a second look. Oh, baby, give me one more chance. Show you that I love you. Won't you please let me back in your heart? Oh, darling, I was blind to let you go. Let you go, baby. Now since I see you in his arms, I want you back. I got sunshine on a cloudy day. When it's cold outside, I got the month of May. Well, I guess you say, what can make me feel this way? My girl, my girl, my girl, talking about my little girl, my girl. Here we go, come on. Now if you feel that you can't go on because of all your hope is gone, and your life is filled with much confusion, until happiness is just an illusion, and the world around is tumbling down, darling, reach out with me. Here we go. I'll be there with a love that will shelter you. I'll be there with a love that will see you through. Thank you so much. We're the Upside Downs. Good night.